The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. orders the geo-mapping of all agricultural lands in the country to increase yields and improve farmers' income. The Philippine Coast Guard clarifies that the trilateral exercise with the United States and Japanese Coast Guard has no connection to the West Philippine Sea dispute. The Senate minority bloc expresses support for those who would question the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund before the Supreme Court. And the North Korea declares that they would soon launch another military spy satellite into space after their failed first attempt. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, June 1, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen at 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Hardin Delgado. First in the news. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered the geo-mapping of all agricultural lands in the country to increase the yield and improve farmers' income. The chief executive issued the order during a meeting with the Philippine Rice Industry Stakeholders Movement, or PRISM, in Malacanang. President Marcos said the government is already using geo-mapping in resolving titling issues to boost agricultural production and increase the income of farmers. He added that they have been using the Bureau of Internal Revenue and National Mapping and Resource Information Authority maps in geo-mapping. The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, clarifies that trilateral exercise with the United States and Japanese Coast Guards has no connection to the West Philippine Sea dispute. Dante Amento has the story.
The United States Coast Guard vessel USC GC Stratton and the Japanese Coast Guard vessel Akatsushima arrived in the country today, June 1. They will be joining the Trilateral Kaagapay 2023 exercise with the Philippine Coast Guard this week in the vicinity of Maribeles, Bataan waters near the West Philippine Sea. However, the PCG and the U.S. Coast Guard clarified that the exercise is unrelated to the West Philippine Sea dispute. It will focus on law enforcement and search and rescue operations.
Of course, we appreciate their support to us on that issue, but this is not the reason why we're having the exercise. This is a Coast Guard exercise on maritime law enforcement and search and rescue. Yun lang naman ang ating pagtutuunan ng pansin.
We're not, heading in one particular direction to complete one particular mission. We're doing all missions together right offshore. So I would not call this a joint patrol.
It aims to strengthen cooperation and interoperability between the participating countries. The U.S. government added that the effort is part of the long partnership between the Philippines and America's allies.
Stratton's visit is a welcome continuation of the U.S. Coast Guard's important partnership with our Philippine and Japanese counterparts. We enjoy a year-round cooperation program that supports PCG development, which enhances operational ties and in support of the U.S.-Philippines alliance.
The Japanese Coast Guard is also a counterpart in order to improve maritime expertise. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
In his recent social media uploaded video, Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. alleged Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla of using powder.
Siguro dahil din sa pulbos, ang bilis niyang magalit. Siguro hindi to dapat sa gobyerno yung taong to. Sana nag-apply to siya sa movie industry. Pero tingin ko kahit sa movie industry pa to nilagay, wala pa rin, sablay pa rin. Sa bagay, kung gumagamit ka talaga ng pulbos, wala talaga kahit saan ka ilagay, kahit anong gawin mo, sablay pa rin.
He added that the youth should not imitate Remulla that allegedly uses illegal drugs.
Alam nyo, isa lang mapapayo ko, lalo na sa mga kabataan natin. Huwag nyo itong tutularan ha, huwag kayong magdroga. Alam nyo bakit? Sasama na itsura nyo, masisira pa utak nyo.
Meanwhile, Secretary Remulla responded. He said that Teves only shows his true state of mind. He allegedly disrespects the authority and even the country.
Isa lang ang reaction ko dyan, no? It reflects his state of mind, his respect for authority, the way he thinks about our society. I think that's self-explanatory kung anong klaseng tao siya.
Now that the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund is one signature away from becoming a law, the Senate minority bloc expresses support for those who would question the measure before the Supreme Court. This report will tell us why. Minority senators are willing to support those who plan to challenge the Maharlika Investment Fund, or MIF, before the Supreme Court, or SC. Senate Minority Leader Aquilino Coco Pimentel says he will make himself available as source of facts, information, and arguments. Meanwhile, Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros maintains that the MIF is not what the country needs nowadays. The opposition senator notes that the Constitution mandates that government-owned and controlled corporations, or GOCCs, must pass the test of economic viability. Hontiveros says economic experts have raised arguments that cast doubt on whether the Wealth Fund has passed or even be subjected to this test. Earlier, Senator Francis Cheese Escudero revealed that he requested from the economic team a test of economic viability, but what was allegedly submitted to him was a business proposal. Senator Mark Villar, the sponsor of the measure in the Senate, says,
I respect the opinion of Senator Cheese, but the NEDA did submit the economic viability analysis. Lumabas po sa analysis ng NEDA na magkakaroon po tayo ng additional 350,000 jobs dahil sa investments of Maharlika.
Despite this, Senate President Juan Miguel Migzubiri is confident that the MIF will hurdle any questions before the SC.
Lahat naman ng batas namin may nag-question paminsan-minsan sa Supreme Court. So I'm sure people will raise it, but I'm sure we can stand the test of judicial scrutiny by the Supreme Court.
An enrolled bill of the MIF will be sent to Malacanang for President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s action. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. The proposed Maharlika Investment Fund is now awaiting the signature of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. after it hurdled both chambers of Congress. A former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission chief, however, is still apprehensive over the said bill. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
Former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, or PACC Chief Greco Belhica, said that an investment fund is more suited for well-off countries. According to the former official, the Maharlika Investment Fund would work if the country has surplus funds to use for investing abroad. However, the country is still borrowing money for infrastructure and other government projects.
I really think basically and fundamentally, the Philippines is not ready and it should not be investing in this high risk, high return and international investment as of now. Pangmayayaman po yan sa totoo lang. I would rather invest in our country, as I've always said, sa ating mga tao dito sa ating bansa, rather than dalhin yung pera sa ibang bansa and i-invest, isugal.
Belhica is also concerned that the approval process of the proposed bill lacks further discussion among lawmakers to ensure it will not be abused or prone to corruption. He also stated that since the funds will be invested abroad, it will be more difficult to monitor its transactions.
Yung pagbabantay po ng pera niya, napakahirap dahil yung magbantay ka nga ng pera dito sa loob ng bansa, napakahirap na eh. Yung magbabantay ka pa ng pera sa labas ng bansa.
Belhica hopes the bill would provide more transparency. He also suggested including finance experts and even the media in the board of directors, which would serve as watchdogs to prevent the misuse of funds. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For our news abroad, North Korea has declared that another spy satellite is underway after the failed launch of the Kalima rocket. Jane Robles will tell us why live. Good evening, Jane.
Good evening, Giona. After the failure of the spy satellite Cholima-1 rocket on Wednesday, North Korea released a statement saying it would soon launch a second attempt of a military spy satellite into space. North Korea's military reconnaissance satellite will be put into space and start its mission in the near future, said Kim Yoo-jung, the sister of leader Kim Jong-un, in an English language statement. Her remarks came after the Cholima-1 rocket carrying a military reconnaissance satellite known as Maligyong-1 plunged into the West Sea off the Korean peninsula on Wednesday. The United States, Japan, and South Korea strongly condemned the launch, which violated United Nations Security Council resolutions. However, Kim Yo-jong said that if their country, officially known as the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, or DPRK, should be particularly censured, the US and all other countries that have launched thousands of satellites should also be denounced. While a South Korean lawmaker said that it may take weeks or more to resolve the problems that had caused North Korea's rocket's failure. Back to you, Diona.
Thank you, Jane, for that live report. The changing weather on Mount Everest attributed to climate change is labeled as one of the main reasons for the record number of deaths. Paul Gatchalian will give us the details live. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Giona. Just within this current season at Mount Everest, the Himalayan database has already recorded the deaths of 12 people, and it is believed that 5 people are missing and likely to have died during expeditions. This year, a total of 17 people have lost their lives on the mountain. Yuba Raj Katiwada, Nepal's tourism director, points to climate change impacting the mountain's weather variability as one of the main reasons for these deaths. On average, 5 to 10 people lose their lives while climbing Mount Everest each year. However, this year has seen the highest number of deaths, matching the record of 17 deaths set in 2014. The Nepalese government has faced heavy criticism as they are responsible for issuing permits to climb the mountain, with over 479 permits being issued this year alone. Meanwhile, as the country relies on income generation, issuing permits still remains one of the biggest sources of revenue, with each permit priced at $12,000, which is why the country has no plans to decrease the number of permits issued. Back to you, Giona.
Thank you, Paul, for that live report. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Giona. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. The Land Transportation Office is set to prioritize issuing plastic driver's license cards to departing overseas Filipino workers who might need the government ID, such as those who have been employed as drivers. Janice and Hento will tell us why.
Only 53,000 plastic driver's licenses are left in the storage of the Land Transportation Office, or LTO, as the agency is still facing a shortage of plastic cards, according to newly designated LTO head Hector Villacorta. Villacorta stated that they will prioritize giving the remaining plastic license cards to departing overseas Filipino workers who might need the government identification, especially those who have been employed as drivers abroad.
Napag-usapan namin na the best way is to give it to those about to depart OFWs. Baka hindi tanggapin ng Saudi o Middle East o kung saan man yung papel, pupunta sila abroad para magtrabaho pero yung lisensya baka hindi paniwalaan . So we're talking to our regional directors na ang priority will be those traveling as drivers ang occupation.
The LTO previously extended the validity of driver's licenses of motorists whose licenses expired on April 24 until October 31 this year. In April, the LTO also announced that it would print out driver's licenses on paper while planning to launch a digital version of the driver's license due to the shortage of plastic cards. Janice and Gente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP advised the BSP Supervised Financial Institutions or BSFIs to remind their clients to register their SIM numbers before the deadline of SIM registration on July 25. The agency reiterates that this is to ensure the payment and financial transactions proceed smoothly and to avoid unnecessary interruptions and processes that generate one-time passwords and transaction authorization in accordance to memorandum issued last April 2023. The Central Bank considers SIM Registration Act or Republic Act number 11934 as critical Philippines' digital transformation. Customers in Metro Manila and nearby provinces will continue to enjoy the water supply for the next 2 weeks. However, the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System has stated that concessionaires need to prepare in order to avoid water service interruptions once the allocation is reduced. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The National Water Resources Board or NWRB maintains the water allocation for Metro Manila and nearby provinces. The allocation of 52 cubic meters per second or CMS for domestic use from Angat Dam will last until June 15. This is to allow concessionaires to prepare measures to sustain an adequate water supply.
No, so habang sinasagawa po 'yon, no, ay ginrant po ng NWRB yung request, no, 52 cubic meters per second to prevent, no, yung mga water interruptions, no.
From June 16 to 30, the allocation will be reduced by 2 CMS, but NWRB will allocate 20 to 40 CMS for irrigation. The board stated that they are considering preparations for the possible effects of El Nino in balancing the water allocation. Water concessionaires have expressed their commitment to avoiding water service interruptions.
Meron pa rin tayong mga isinasagawa pang mga water facilities, water treatment facilities na kukuha pa rin sa Laguna Lake. Meron tayo dyan sa East Bay at meron nga tayo na yung kukuha rin sa Wawa Dam. Ano?
Yung kakulangan na yon, yung 2 CMS na yon, ay nakikita naman namin ay sasapat yung mga mitigating measures in place that we have.
However, MWSS has warned that if the concessionaires fail to prepare, water service interruptions during nighttime might occur.
Magkakaroon po ng interruptions, especially during nighttime, no? Yung pero idagdag ko lang na dapat ma-implement po yung mga new mitigating measures po natin. Hopefully maayos po natin at hindi po magkakaroon ng interruption.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Ukraine's eastern city of Bakhmut mayor discloses toll of injuries and deaths since the start of the Russian invasion. Ruth Bahe will give us the details live. Good evening, Ruth.
Good evening, Giona. Bakhmut City Mayor Alexei Reva disclosed in an interview yesterday that the city has suffered tremendously with a death toll of 204 residents and 505 reported injuries. Among the casualties were 17 children injured and 4 killed. Although it has been reported that hostility in the city area has dropped, Mayor Reva stated that all of Bakhmut's infrastructure and buildings are now destroyed. Bakhmut used to be home to approximately 80,000 people, but now authorities estimate that only 500 residents remain after Russia took control of the city almost 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to deny any responsibility or involvement in the drone attack in Moscow on Tuesday, which injured 2 people and caused damage to several structures. The Biden administration insisted that the White House has been clear in its stance against supporting attacks on any Russian soil. Back to you, Giona.
Thank you, Ruth, for that live report. Firefighters continue to battle a wildfire in the Scottish Highlands that have been burning for the past 4 days, and officials believe it is on its way to becoming the UK's largest ever. The wildfire started at Cannock near Inverness on Sunday, May 28, and has grown to a record area measuring 64 square kilometers, with the smoke captured from space by NASA WorldView satellites. While firefighters are still investigating the cause of the blaze, the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, or SFRS, has called on the public to exercise caution when outdoors. Meanwhile, in Parliament yesterday, May 31st, Community Safety Minister Siobhan Brown committed the Scottish Government to raising awareness of wildfire prevention amid suspicions that wild camping may have been the cause of the blaze. However, Conservative MSP Rachel Hamilton questioned whether signposting and public awareness campaigns will be enough to prevent large-scale fires like this, and suggested boosting wildlife resilience and managing fuel load in vulnerable areas. Brown responded by stating that the country has so far restored over 65,000 hectares, surpassing its world-leading target of restoring 250,000 acres of degraded peatland by 2030. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Gianna Pravado, live from London, United Kingdom. Good evening.
The Philippine Statistics Authority has reminded the public to take advantage of the mobile and satellite registration to register for the national ID. According to the agency, there are more than 79 million Filipinos who have already registered. Gladys Tuabi will tell us why.
79.12 million Filipinos have registered for the national IDs. According to Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, there are 37.73 million that have been printed, and 32 million were already delivered by PhilPost. While there are still others who are still waiting for their national IDs despite their early registration, PSA says that last 2021, it has gained a large number of registration. The agency confirmed that they are still trying to produce the cards of 53 million registrants up to now.
Kung hindi man siya matapos within this year, siguro next year we have a good chance to complete yung mga distribution and production and distribution ng mga physical cards.
The PSA encourages the public who haven't received yet their IDs to connect with them on their website appt.philsys.gov.ph in order to know the status of their IDs. Meanwhile, the agency has clarified that only national IDs of the residents in Manila were affected during the fire incident at the Manila Central Post Office and not the bulk of the IDs.
Around mga 7,500 yung affected. They have already forwarded the information, including data kung ano yung mga cards na affected. And tinitrigger na namin ngayon yung reprinting sa BSP. We target that sometime in June, marirelease na namin yan sa PhilPost para ma-deliver sa mga registrants.
PSA reminds the public to take advantage of the mobile and satellite registration in different areas of the country, offered by the agency to register in order to receive their national IDs. Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The province of Ifugao, with its partner agencies, has formally opened the Agri-Industrial and Tourism Fair, or AMLAG, today, June 1, 2023. This also coincides with the launch of the 2023 Gotad ad Ifugao and the 57th founding anniversary of the province, with the theme Gotad ad Ifugao, Lingop Hangle Yaamlong, or Well-Being, Progress, and Happiness. The provincial fiesta and the AMLAG will run until June 18, 2023. Various agricultural and local products are available at the said fair located at the Capital Plaza, Lagawe. The AMLAG is part of the economic recovery efforts of the province from the losses brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. The ribbon cutting was led by Governor Jelly Dalipog, Gotad Task Force Chairperson, Engineer Carmelita Buyukan, and other partner agencies. our kasambahay. As the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4. It says, "Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge." And those are the reasons behind the news, June 1, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold, because we need to know. We will always ask why. I am Hardin Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.